Cincinnati police said that they gave 2 warnings to the lounge to stop serving people inside unless those people were simply getting carry out. They say the bar chose not to listen and not to comply. And so today they came here and boarded up that bar and lounge. And they say other bars and restaurants that refuse to comply can expect the same thing. The Queen City Lounge is closed for business today. Around 1 this afternoon, Cincinnati police started boarding up the popular Westwood night spot. Officers say last night the lounge was open with roughly 40 people inside and a full buffet.
You know, not only are you putting the general public at risk, you're putting our officers at risk that had to go in and deal with the individuals that were in violation, try to get voluntary compliance over a prolonged period of time. We don't have that option anymore. We are in the middle of a crisis that none of us have been exposed to.
Police say last night 1 man was arrested for keeping the bar open and on a gun charge.
Like the colonel said, we were out Sunday night and we warned them that they needed to close, and they chose not to.
Officers say it may seem extreme, but they will continue to enforce the governor's order to protect public health.
Hopefully what this will tell the rest of our establishments is, please voluntarily comply. Let's all get through this together, and we'll take it from there.
And police say they will also consider trying to get the liquor licenses pulled of bars and restaurants that refuse to cooperate.
Welcome to Ohio Survival News. This is Casey O'Brien. Today is Friday, March 27th, 2020. The time is 9:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Broadcasting live from my parents' basement. As usual, we will be starting with the confirmed numbers here in Ohio and what counties they're in. These were last updated today at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Ohio has 1,137 confirmed cases. Of those, 276 are currently hospitalized. And of those hospitalizations, 107 are in intensive care units. There have been 19 deaths. The median age for a confirmed case is 52. The age range is from 1 to 96 years old. Less than 1 to 96 years old. And 52% of the confirmed cases are male, 48% are female. Okay, going county by county, Cuyahoga is still in first with 330 cases, 69 hospitalizations, 2 deaths. Franklin County, 152 cases, 24 hospitalizations, 2 deaths. Mahoning, 68 cases, 39 hospitalizations, 2 deaths. Summit, 65 cases, 16 hospitalizations, and 1 death. Hamilton County has 63 cases, as well as 9 hospitalizations. Lorain is at 56 cases, 13 hospitalizations. Lucas County is at 48 cases, 5 hospitalizations, 2 deaths. Miami County is at 32 cases, 10 hospitalizations, and 4 deaths. They are leading the state in terms of deaths currently. Medina has 32 cases and 8 hospitalizations. Lake County, 27 cases, 6 hospitalizations. Butler, 23 cases, 6 hospitalizations. Stark County, 22 cases, 6 hospitalizations, 2 deaths. Delaware County, 20 cases, 2 hospitalizations. Montgomery County is at 19 cases with 3 hospitalizations. Trumbull has 17 cases, 12 hospitalizations, 1 death. Portage, 13 cases, 3 hospitalizations. Warren, 11 cases, 1 hospitalization. Licking, 10 cases, 1 hospitalization. Geauga, 10 cases, 4 hospitalizations. Wood County, 8 cases, 3 hospitalizations. Fairfield, 8 cases, 2 hospitalizations. Columbiana, 7 cases, 5 hospitalizations, 1 death. Claremont County has 6 cases, 1 hospitalization. Belmont, 6 cases, 1 hospitalization. Marion, 5 cases. Defiance, 5 cases, 2 hospitalizations. Ashtabula, 5 cases, 1 hospitalization. Richland, 4 cases, 1 hospitalization. Coshocton, 4 cases. Wayne, 3 cases, 1 hospitalization. Union, 3 cases. Tuscarawas, 3 cases, 2 hospitalizations. Madison County, 3 cases, 1 hospitalization. Huron, 3 cases, 2 hospitalizations. Greene County, 3 cases. Erie County, 3 cases, 3 hospitalizations, 1 death. Carroll, 3 cases, 3 hospitalizations. Ashland, 3 cases. Washington County, 2 cases. Pickaway, 2 cases. Muskingum, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Mercer, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Logan, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Knox, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Hancock, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Fulton, 2 cases. Clinton, 2 cases. Clark, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Champaign, 2 cases, 1 hospitalization. Wyandotte, 1 case, 1 hospitalization. Shelby, 1 case, 1 hospitalization. Seneca, 1 case. Sandusky, 1 case, 1 hospitalization. Lawrence, 1 case. Jefferson, 1 case. Highland, 1 case. Gallia, 1 case, 1 hospitalization, 1 death. Fayette, 1 case. Dark, 1 case. Crawford, 1 case. And Athens, 1 case. This week, Summit County Public Health used their authority to shut down 37 businesses that included car washes, vape shops, a fitness center, a college, a playground, and 5 retail businesses. Agency officials said they had received more than 400 complaints about possible violations. In terms of Cincinnati, one Cincinnati business, the Queen City Lodge on Queen City Avenue, was closed March 17th before the stay-at-home order went into effect, but after the shutdown of restaurants and bars, police said. In Warren County, Health Commissioner Dwayne Stansberry said the department will work with County Prosecutor's Office should businesses fail to comply with the order. During today's coronavirus press conference, Governor Mike DeWine and Dr. Amy Acton extended their projection of when Ohio will reach their peak cases to mid-May, and they also increased that number from around 8,000 to approximately 10,000. Officials in the coronavirus task force here in Ohio stated that Ohio will need 2 to 3 times as many beds for hospitalizations, and they are looking towards hotels and dormitories to help fill that gap. Currently, state statistics show that 17% of all of Ohio's coronavirus cases are healthcare workers. 2 weeks ago, Cuyahoga County announced that they will be releasing, quote, hundreds of inmates from their county jails. The specific number was not given. This move was done to help stem the threat of coronavirus outbreaks within the jail and prison populations. Administrative Judge Brendan Sheehan said, quote, "You got to remember, the goal of this is to protect the community and the safety of the inmates. If someone's a serious, violent person, well, we're using our discretion to make sure the community is safe also." Other areas in Ohio are following Cuyahoga County's lead. 2 days ago, it was reported from the Dayton Daily News that more than 300 inmates have been released from Montgomery County Jail here in Dayton. Montgomery County Sheriff Rob Streck said he's also asked his deputies in surrounding police departments to not arrest and book suspects of nonviolent misdemeanor crimes in jail. Instead, they are being asked to resolve the matters in other ways, like with a ticket or court summons. There are now about 500 inmates incarcerated at the jail, Streck said, much lower than usual. Quote, "The majority are violent felons and people who the judges, probation, and parole believe should not be released," Streck said. Jail bookings data obtained by the Dayton Daily News showed a significant decrease in jail bookings over the last couple weeks. In early March, it wasn't uncommon for the jail to book 40 to 70 inmates a day. Between March 21st and 24th, that number has been in the teens or below. On March 22nd, 11 people were booked into jail, according to jail reports. Struck said a big reason for this is the jail is no longer accepting suspects with warrants from outside of Montgomery County, with few exceptions. Quote, "My agency pulls someone over from the other county. We will contact that county and see if they want to meet up and transfer custody," Struck said. "Most times, because warrants are usually trafficked, the other agency says come to the courts and take care of it after all this is over." Struck said the move was made because other jails were refusing to come pick up their inmates due to new coronavirus policies they have implemented themselves. The sheriff said he hopes to get the number of inmates down into the 400s soon. He said the total has gone down consistently since March 16th, and he hopes the number will continue to fall as suspects either are sent to prison or complete their jail sentences. What we're going to see here soon is a huge increase in crime. If you are not prepared, if you do not own a firearm, if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know how to defend yourself, both with your hands and with a weapon, then that is something that I would highly suggest that you teach yourself very soon. All over, what you're seeing are police departments, their police officers are being infected. You're seeing judges try their best not to have people in jails, not to have people in prisons. You're seeing a lot of places all over the country, but here in Ohio especially, release hundreds, if not thousands of inmates. These are already people that are already, they're burdened. They can't provide for themselves the normal means. And there's a lot of people that, you know, are law-abiding, upstanding citizens. They can't provide for themselves with normal means either. As these times get harder, you're going to see more people turn to crime, either because that's a habit of their life and or because of they need to get things to survive. And as this happens, you're going to see police officers become infected with coronavirus. It's already happening. Fully a fifth of Detroit Police Department's police officers are quarantined with the coronavirus. A Detroit police captain was the second Detroit police officer reported to have died from coronavirus complications. The Hill reports 3 hours ago that there are over 500 New York Police Department police officers who are testing positive with the coronavirus. So you're seeing inmates released from jail. You're seeing police departments being decimated right now with a combination of officers who are testing positive, officers who are dying from this, officers who are being hospitalized, and officers who, you know, they're going to be calling, some of them are going to be calling off work because they're humans too. They don't want to, they know what the risks are. They don't want to be going out there responding to calls and having to become physical with a general population that's putting them at risk for this disease. Here you have CBS News reporting NYPD absences spike as police call in sick amid coronavirus pandemic. On Friday, 4,111 officers called in sick, accounting for more than 11% of the force. Laws aren't going to be enforced. I already know people personally who shared with me stories of police arriving for domestic violence calls, things like that, and they're not even going in the houses, and they're just telling the people, you know, figure this stuff out yourself. There is not going to be law. How long we have order, that's going to be one thing. So I suggest, and this is something that I've done, reach out to your neighbors if you haven't already. Get their phone numbers, make sure they have your phone numbers. You know, the neighbors you trust, because we don't have all good neighbors, unfortunately. But, you know, make your preparations with your neighbors, because you and your network of neighbors, you are going to be the first line and a lot of times only defense that you have in your communities. From Columbus Business First, Columbus-based research giant Battelle is close to deploying machines that will sterilize masks and allow healthcare workers to reuse them as demand grows amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, Ohio Lieutenant Governor Jon Husted said Friday. Husted said approval from the Food and Drug Administration, the necessary final step before the technology can be put to use, could come as soon as Friday evening. A Battelle spokeswoman declined to talk about the technology pending that approval, but Husted said this understanding is that the machines would be able to sterilize up to 160,000 masks a day. He expects 2 machines to be deployed in Ohio, with others headed to New York, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. Also from Columbus Business First, we have reassuring news in terms of when we're going to be going back to work. If you watch my other videos, you know I'm not so worried about the economy as I am about health. This article states, prominent members of the city's corporate community are pledging to wait until Governor Mike DeWine gives the call clear before asking employees to return to the office, the CEO of the Columbus Partnership said Wednesday. And Columbus Partnership, they're both capital letters, so I'm assuming that's the name of this organization. Alex Fisher, speaking during a media briefing with leaders of the region's public, corporate, and nonprofit sectors, said representatives of the partnership's 70-plus businesses and organizations have been holding conference calls nearly every day since the state began ordering lockdown measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. In recent days, there has been increasing pushback from some, including President Donald Trump, against continuing the shutdown indefinitely because of the economy. Trump has suggested that some restrictions could be lifted by Easter, but Fisher said that Columbus Partnership members would continue to follow guidelines set by DeWine and state public health officials. Governor Mike DeWine announced on Monday that he is seeking cuts of up to 20% of the state of Ohio's total government spending as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. DeWine also said he is ordering an immediate hiring freeze in state government, except for those who are, quote, directly involved in fighting the coronavirus. The state has an approximately $70 billion budget. A 20% reduction in spending would equate to roughly $14 billion. DeWine said he has been in touch with the entire cabinet and has, quote, instructed each one of them to look for cuts they can make immediately in their budgets and their spending. Quote, we're looking for cuts up to 20%, DeWine said. The earlier we start slowing down the spending, the more impact it's going to have. DeWine said this is necessary because as commercial activity slows down dramatically across the state, quote, one of the consequences is going to be state revenues are going to go down dramatically. In related news, Governor DeWine has formally asked police departments across the state as well as health departments to help in ensuring a crackdown of gatherings. Quote, the governor has been in contact with local police chiefs and health departments to crack down on gatherings. Quote, we are going to do what we need to do to protect Ohioans. We've asked health departments and police, if you see something that you think is a hot spot of people gathering together, very nicely tell them they can't congregate. I'm sure the police are going to be real nice about that one. That's what DeWine said on Friday. While it is not a state order, DeWine has asked travelers returning from other states to self-quarantine for 14 days. President Trump finally did sign into law the Defense Production Act, giving him basically unlimited powers over production and corporations here in the U.S. And one of the first things he did, this is from today, he did order General Motors to start producing ventilators and to prioritize federal contracts. This comes during his press conference earlier today. There was mention that they had had issues with General Motors. Trump didn't get into specifics. He did mention that there were concerns with pricing and whatnot. Fuck General Motors. We bailed their asses out. And what did they do? They sent more of their fucking factories overseas. They catered to the Chinese market entirely, which has been on a downturn for the last, I believe, year or two. And actually, their products have been suffering all around the globe. I'm a car guy. I love cars. Just in normal times, I follow car news a lot. GM, they offloaded their European production. They sold Vauxhall as well as Opel. And they closed their Australian operations, Holden. And like I said, they've been closing factories here in the U.S. They closed the Lordstown plant. They made the Chevy Cruze here in Ohio. And, for them to not go all in trying to produce and help us fight this, the fact that they had to be ordered to do so, shows what type of a scumbag company they are. In national news, Amazon, currently there are 10 of their facilities, at least 10, where there have been outbreaks of coronavirus at their warehouses. This virus, it can survive on surfaces for up to 9 days. My parents were watching the Weather Channel earlier when I was over, and they were talking about how the virus can live on the surfaces for, up to a few days. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. I hear people say, oh, the media is trying to get everyone to panic and everything. The media is not doing that. The media's been downplaying this since day one. The media was the one that was saying, oh, the flu's so much worse, and being concerned about the coronavirus, that's racist and all this shit. What the media is doing now is they're giving faulty information out. They're saying that this virus only lasts maybe like 3 or 4 days on surfaces. No, it's been shown that it can last up to 9 days on surfaces. And the media is saying that, the incubation period, the long end of that is 14 days. No, the long end of that we know of is 27 days. The media keeps saying this. And then you have these idiots that are in denial saying, it's not a big deal. The media is just getting everyone panicked. No, the media is not getting everyone to panic. They're trying to get everyone to be complacent and to not know what's going on and to not know the real threat that's in front of them. In other Amazon news, it was reported that Amazon is going to be halting shipments of non-essential items. Now, there has been different accounts on, what this is exactly. And I hate to do this because they're not a reliable source, but I'm going to tell you what they say. Snopes, which again, they are not a reliable source. I can show you demonstrably multiple articles of theirs that are objectively false, that they have objectively lied in. But they did fact check the claim, and the claim that they have is Amazon announced that it is suspending all deliveries except for medical supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic. The rating was mostly false. And this is something that Snopes does a lot, which is why I don't like them. Like I put them like lower than like cable news and stuff in terms of their track record. But what they'll do is they'll take a claim, and when they'll reword it so that they can. It's kind of like a reversal of like cherry picking. I mean, like they're cherry picking their hypothesis or the claim, and they're rearranging it so that they can have that sort of response that they want. And what I heard, what was reported to me, what I heard, I believe on WLW radio, 700 AM out of Cincinnati, was that they are not delivering non-essential items. It was nothing about medical supplies. See, this is what Snopes does. They change non-essential to medical supplies. This is how sneaky these fuckers are. But they rated it mostly false. Here's what they said. What's true? Amazon is temporarily prohibiting third-party sellers from shipping and storing non-essential items at its warehouses until April 5th, 2020. This will likely impact the products available for, quote, fulfillment by Amazon orders in the near future. What's false? Amazon did not announce that it was halting shipment on all non-essential items. See, they're not even consistent with the claim and then what's false. Now they say non-essential items. They said medical supplies before that. Amazon will continue to ship non-essential items to consumers as long as those items are in stock. Products that are not shipped from Amazon's warehouses will not be affected by this temporary policy. The stock of items that Amazon already has at its warehouses, whether those be essential or non-essential, they will continue selling those. Any non-essential stock they have, they're going to be getting rid of that. So you can still buy those until they run out. But after that, I think they're going to be using that floor space in the warehouses for essential items. Because, I mean, Jeff Bezos, that bald prick, he's not stupid. He knows, there's going to be this huge demand for these items. I mean, the grocery stores and stuff, they can't keep up with them, and their hours are cut, and people are being forced to stay in their houses. So, I'd say the claim that Amazon is no longer going to be delivering non-essential items, I'd say that's true. I mean, they're going to be delivering the ones that they still have in stock until they run out of stock, but they're not going to be delivering non-essential items after that. And especially if they're having outbreaks at 10 of their facilities. And that's from 2 days ago. That news article had 10. So I think there's going to be a lot of problems, especially with the virus living on surfaces for up to 9 days. I do have a question from a viewer. This is a personal friend of mine who's been watching the videos. This is Sealoke out in Phoenix, Arizona. You're my homie, man. Sealoke asks, In relation to the countries that are shutting off their food exports, you want to know who they are, how much concern is their product to the world, like how important is it? Do they have influences on other countries to do the same? And you also want to know about a shift from the U.S. in terms of bringing manufacturing back here. How real is it that these giants, you mentioned like GE, GM, Ford, how real is it that these giants could be bought out by the government, and how likely are we to see more growth and job opportunities as far as factories coming back to the U.S.? In terms of the food production, the article that I read was from Bloomberg, and it mentioned that Kazakhstan was halting food exports, as well as some other countries like Vietnam, Serbia. Russia was considering doing that. And I'm looking at a map that was included in that Bloomberg article. So in terms of some of these countries like Kazakhstan, Vietnam, how important their ceasing of food exports is, it might not be that totally important because I don't know, dude. It looks like Kazakhstan has a decent amount of exports, but like Vietnam, yeah, they do too actually. It could be an issue. I think it's going to be more of an issue regionally, since China, India, Afghanistan, Iran, South Korea, Japan, a lot of those countries, Philippines, they are food importers, so that's going to hit them harder. It's nice, the U.S., we are a net exporter, so that means we don't have to import food. We can be self-sufficient with our own food. Will that happen though? I do worry about production because there is a lot that goes into food processing. Then you have regional variations too, Arizona doesn't grow as much food as Ohio does. Ohio grows a lot of corn and soybeans. And in terms of influence that other countries can put on others, if Russia's going to go that route, then they could definitely put a lot of influence on Central Asian, Eurasian, and Eastern European countries as well. Now, in terms of the second part of the question about, is the government going to be buying these companies? I would say that they already are. That's what this $6 trillion bailout is. I've heard different numbers. I've heard 6 trillion, I've heard 2.2 trillion. I think the 2.2 trillion is what's actually going to the people. And I don't know if they're lumping small businesses and, like Main Street USA into that. But $6 trillion. And, you have the Defense Production Act, which was signed, reauthorized by President Trump. That makes him CEO of America. He has the power to tell these businesses what to do, what to make, when to make it, what the prices are they're going to be getting, all of that. And what the Fed's doing is they've just printed this money out of nowhere. And they're buying debt, they're buying stocks, they're buying shares of these companies, and they're going to be in charge. They are in charge. So maybe the government doesn't own these companies outright, but they have large shares in them, and the president now has the authority and the power to be the CEO of these companies, to tell them what to do and how to do it. So, I think that's a threshold, a Rubicon that we've already crossed. We're here now. This is a new country. It's a new form of government, a new system. It could go either way. It could be a bad thing, it could be a good thing. If this is done, and it's done to bring back these manufacturing jobs that have been gutted from this country over the last 4 or 5 decades, then that will be a good thing. That will make this, I hate the idea of the Fed. Just printing all this fiat money. I hate us not having a gold-backed system and all that. But, if they can do this, if we can, get the manufacturing sector back to this country. I think that's one of the most important things we can do. We can deal with the Fed later. But if that happens, that would be good. Now, the other side of that coin is, that might not happen. It might be, is the tail going to be wagging the dog here? And that's what could happen. The corporations could end up telling, the U.S. what to do. Now, Trump is a kind of a stubborn man, I guess. I don't know. He's got his own lane that he likes, and he does his own thing. But he also will listen a lot, and a lot more than he should at times, with business leaders and owners and stuff. One of them is Nick Ayers. He runs some tech company, longtime Republican strategist, but he's been behind the scenes, Nick Ayers, he's been behind the scenes telling Trump, hey, shutting down the economy is worse than all these Americans dying. We need to get them back to work and licking door handles and shit. So, if Trump doesn't, it's kind of fucked up saying this, but, if he's not authoritarian with this, if he doesn't grab the economy by the throat and just choke this fucking service economy we have and replace it, bring back these manufacturing jobs. If he's not authoritarian and he doesn't do that, then we're going to be in for trouble. It's so weird, but I would say this is one case where, this area, if he's more authoritarian in that, then I think we're actually going to be in a better shape than if he wants to be more democratic, and he's going to listen to all these business leaders that don't give a fuck about any of us. They just want their money, and they want good stock prices and all this shit. So that's that. If you guys have any questions for me, send them to my email, cincy32@cryptex.com, or you could leave them in the comments, text me, message me on my Discord group, whatever you want to do. So have a good night, be safe. Ohio Survival News will be back on Monday, and I will be uploading I plan on uploading some videos Saturday and Sunday, and they're going to be not Ohio Survival News, but they will be coronavirus related. So have a good weekend.